Alright, welcome back to another live stream here. Today we're here for a update on Tropical Storm Milton. We are expecting this to develop into a hurricane by this weekend, and we're expecting this to become a major hurricane and make landfall in Florida later this week. So today we're going to be talking about everything that you need to know about this system, and things have gotten a lot more concerning since my update this morning. Alright, we were talking about how this was only a tropical depression. The National Hurricane Center was saying it was going to be a Category 2 landfall. Well, now they're saying it's going to be a Category 3 landfall with sustained winds of 115 miles per hour and gusts up to 140. Another concerning thing about this is the track has shifted just far enough to the north here where this would put the eye wall in downtown Tampa, and if that were to happen, that would bring devastating, horrible impacts to Tampa that area has not seen in quite a while. So today we've got ourselves a lot to discuss. So again, Milton is a tropical storm now, and right now the National Hurricane Center is saying that by tomorrow night we're going to have a hurricane out of this. Now, it's going to develop into a Category 2 hurricane relatively quickly after that, and it's just going to continue to rapidly intensify as it makes its way through the Gulf of Mexico. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep having to clear my throat so much, but again, a Category 3 landfall is the most likely in my opinion. I talked about that this morning, but a Category 4 definitely cannot be ruled out. So, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep having to clear my throat. Give me just a second. Okay, we should be good to go. Sorry about that. So, anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the National Hurricane Center's new updates here on Tropical Storm Milton, potential impacts, and more. So, this is the rainfall forecast right now from the National Hurricane Center. Now, keep in mind, it will get more aggressive over the next few days as confidence rises in what this system is going to do. But right now, let's go ahead. I did not realize my audio was on there. So, we're expecting a foot of rain to be a possibility for areas north of downtown Tampa. This is going to be for a very, very small section of the west coast of Florida, and then there's a very small band along the northeast part of Florida as well there where we could see 8 inches of rain, anywhere all the way up to a foot. Again, I do imagine that we'll see this get upgraded significantly over the next few days, but as of right now, that's the forecast. We're expecting a big stretch here of 6 to 8 inches of rain to impact much of central Florida. Outside of that, though, really the entirety of the peninsula is going to be getting a good dumping here. We're expecting parts of the Keys to see somewhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain. We're talking about Miami getting 6 to 8 inches of rain, Orlando 4 to 6 inches of rain, Tampa Bay 6 to 8 inches of rain. And again, that forecast will get more dramatic over the next several days. And again, guys, storm surge is going to be a huge problem. The National Hurricane Center's not mentioned anything about storm surge totals yet, but that'll likely be a massive problem, probably the biggest problem here with this system. So, again, we are expecting this to make landfall somewhere near downtown Tampa, and we are expecting it to bring hurricane-force winds to a good part of the Florida peninsula. So, again, we will continue to watch that over the next several days. Right now, they have only issued a slight risk of excessive rainfall for pretty much the entirety of the peninsula and southeast Georgia here over the next couple of days. But it is going to get upgraded significantly to, again, either a moderate, potentially even a high risk of flash flooding. That's what we usually see with major hurricanes, which, again, we are expecting Milton to be here. Bro, I don't want to see any of these chat messages about my shirt. I'll explain in a little bit. But anyway, so again, when will it make landfall? So right now, the National Hurricane Center's forecast is that we're going to see a landfall out of this system on Wednesday afternoon. I believe this would be Wednesday anyway. Yes, this would be Wednesday afternoon, October 9th. So that would be, again, a landfall where they're expecting it to happen right near Tampa. Again, it is literally forecasted to go right to the north of Davis Islands, which is pretty interesting. So again, we'll watch out for that. And again, we're expecting a major hurricane landfall with Category 3 status. It's up farm video animation. So anyway, again, we are expecting the storm surge to be a huge problem here. Again, destructive winds are going to be a big problem, but flooding rains, I think, could be another big headline of this system. Obviously, flooding was the biggest problem here with Hurricane Helene, and again, I want to make this clear. This system will not be as strong as Helene. I know a lot of people are rattled after Helene's impacts, but what I will say is Tampa, this will be worse for you than Helene was, unfortunately, because Helene went far, far, far to the west of you, and you still saw significant impacts from it, and again, this system is tracked, again, right now we're expecting the eye wall to head right over you, so it is going to be a big deal. And again, the National Hurricane Center has unfortunately not released their newest storm surge forecast quite yet, but it will likely be out here within the next couple of days. Again, major hurricanes usually bring significant storm surge of 10 feet or more to whatever areas get directly impacted. So, again, that is what the National Hurricane Center is saying. If we go ahead and take a look at tropical tidbits here, if we go ahead and bring up the intensity guidance, we see we have a few of our members here pushing this all the way to mid-range Category 4 strength here, but the general consensus is that this is going to peak somewhere around high-end Category 2 or low-end Category 3 intensity, and again, that's what the National Hurricane Center is saying as well. I think we're going to see more of a mid to high-range Category 3 hurricane. I'd put my my track somewhere like right around the middle of the Cat 3 range. But I definitely don't think that we're going to see a Category 4. I think that that's a little bit too far of a stretch, especially considering right now we're barely expecting a Category 3 out of this. Again, things could change. They could. But right now, I'm going to stick with Category 3. So there's a lot of agreements that this will reach Category 1 intensity 36 hours from now. It'll reach Category 2 intensity if it does, which likely will, from about 60 hours out from now. And then it will likely reach Category 3 intensity shortly after that, around 72 hours out from now. And its peak strength will likely be about 84 hours out from now. And again, that's whenever we're expecting this thing to make landfall. You think Miami school will be canceled this coming week? If so, which days? Yeah, so again, I think that Miami probably would not see many, I don't know, I think you'd probably still see cancellations of school, but it would probably only be 1 or 2 days, Wednesday or Thursday, if anything. But again, you're really only going to see tropical storm force conditions right there, so... But yeah, we're expecting a Wednesday early afternoon landfall. Again, guys, unfortunately right now it's looking like it's going to make landfall just before I'm able to go live, but I will be live as this is making its way through Tampa Bay, hopefully. And again, we'll cover tornadoes, storm surge, damaging winds, everything, just like what we did with Helene. We did multiple hours of coverage on Helene whenever it happened, and again, we're planning to do the same exact thing here for Milton. Even if it's not as intensive a system, it doesn't really matter, because this is a much more populated area, and people are rattled after what happened with Helene. So again, we got to make sure that they know that things are not going to be quite as serious as that, but they should definitely still be on the lookout here. And again, listen to your local officials. Several evacuation orders will be put in effect for a good chunk of the peninsula. I imagine state of emergencies will be issued for several counties if they are not already. I don't think they are quite yet, but over the next few days, those will start to get issued. But again, with Helene, we did almost 3 hours of coverage, and then we also did several hours of forecasting with it as well. And that was whenever we got rated by Max Velocity, one of those streams was, so that was fun. But anyway... Yes, the GFS is trending a little bit further to the north. Originally, I was thinking this was going to be a little bit further to the south, but right now it's saying a landfall. Here, let me just go ahead and pull this up on your screen here. It's saying that a landfall is going to be likely. First of all, if we go ahead and talk about the strength, they're saying it's going to be around 951 millibars at its strongest, maybe 950 millibars there. 949 rather, but it's saying that it's going to really head towards the Big Bend rather than anything else, honestly. And if this were to happen, this would be bad, because this is the area that got, one of the areas that got extremely heavily impacted from the storm surge with Helene, and again, that would just be awful to see the same region get hit by a major hurricane within the same 2 weeks. That would be devastating, so again, hopefully it makes a landfall a little bit further to the south, but again, if it makes a landfall a little bit further to the south, that's also a more populated area, so that's also a downside. But, yeah, I'd also like to point out the GFS has picked up on a signal here on the newest run that is just now coming in, that we could have another tropical storm trying to make its way up here after this towards the Florida Keys, but again, it's way too far out to talk about the specifics with that, or if that's even going to happen, so don't worry too much about that. What is a storm by Tampa right now? there aren't any storms in Tampa right now. There are some storms near the Cape Coral area, leading to some significant flash flooding, actually. And again, that's only going to get worse over the next several days. They already had a ton of rain from Helene, but it's going to get worse. So, if we go and look at the satellite imagery here, let's see. Can we bring up Milton yet? I don't think we can. If we look at the Gulf of Mexico here, the central region, we can just barely see the satellite imagery. Let's just go ahead and bring up the infrared. Why don't we? So, Tropical Storm Milton on the infrared right now. It is a small storm as of right now, but again, it's going to get much bigger. It already is looking actually quite impressive. It has got a ton of convective towers popping off here. Just look at that pink zone there. And again, I think that soon we'll start to see some sort of eye try to develop there in the core of our storm. Again, it is pretty much stationary right now, just dumping rain on the east coast of Mexico, actually leading to some significant flooding. And again, the far outer bands of this system are bringing some rain to extreme southern parts of Texas as well. So that's something pretty interesting. And again, we could see some heavy rain in parts of areas all across the Gulf Coast over the next few days. So we'll see. Yeah, it seems like we're going to be talking about the Davis Islands a lot with this system. Because we got viewers there. It's going to make a direct landfall in that area pretty much. And then also, it's the Davis Islands, and I'm Davis's weather, so... But yeah, we've still got hundreds of thousands of power outages across parts of West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida here from Hurricane Helene. And again, we're expecting a lot of the impacts to be south of that area. Again, I want to make this clear. We're not expecting any major impacts to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. The worst thing that would happen is we'd see heavy rain, but again, really this system should be even so far south that you shouldn't even get any of that. And again, crews are struggling to get out there right now to repair the power because of the ongoing flooding. Again, it's a bad situation, so... But again, this system is going to rip through right through the heart of Florida, some of the biggest cities, right across the Interstate 4 corridor. This is going to rip through St. Petersburg, Tampa, Lakeland, Orlando, all the way up through Titusville, south of Daytona Beach here, according to the newest track from the National Hurricane Center. But again, realistically, we could see that landfall be anywhere kind of in this blue line. And I did this with Helene, too. I think I'm going to go ahead and forecast specific probabilities, or not probabilities, but specific areas where I think landfalls are the most likely. So if you're in this yellow... if you're in these yellow lines, you have a very, very, very small chance of seeing a landfall from this system. We're not expecting you to see a landfall, but we can't completely rule it out. So, the orange lines here, this is the area where things are a bit more likely to see a landfall from this system. It's definitely a good possibility that we see something like this. And then we'll go and throw the red lines on there, which I think, again, have a pretty good... chance to see a landfall if this National Hurricane Center cone just shifts even a few miles north or south. And then the pink zone is right now where the National Hurricane Center is saying is most likely to see a landfall from this system. And then we can go ahead and draw some green lines here. Right now, we're not expecting a landfall in these areas, but if major forecast changes happen, then we could see some sort of potential for a landfall, but again, it's very unlikely at this time. Probably tomorrow or Monday you'd leave. Yeah, again, I mean, it's honestly would be smart to start, packing your stuff now, because, again, you shouldn't leave now, but it would be smart to start packing your stuff, because this, again, is almost certainly going to trigger evacuation orders for a good chunk of the west coast of Florida. So, anyway. And we do have severe weather in the Midwest today. I forgot to mention that. We've got some storms starting to pop off in parts of Wisconsin. Again, we're expecting damaging winds and isolated hail to be a possibility over Wisconsin and the Michigan UP over the next couple of hours, really into the nighttime hours tonight. Yeah, I saw Max add cheese curd. I can't believe it. Every time. He did it with Helene, too. Every time he does it. It's not a joke. Something bad happens. Something horrible happens. And again, we were expecting Helene to be bad, but it was so much worse than anybody thought. I think the reason why is because of the cheese curds. I think they're cursed. We need to ban them from Culver's. But What's up, Matt? Thank you for tuning in. And again, Hurricane Kirk is still just chilling out there. It's a major, and I will be leaving soon, Airborne. I'm not gonna be able to be live for very long. It's still a major chilling out there in the Atlantic, but again, we're expecting this to not have any sort of USA landfall, but it will track northeastward and potentially make some sort of impacts to parts of Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, maybe even Ireland out there for Kevin Joyce. All across Western Europe, which again is not something we see very often. But we could definitely see gusty winds and heavy rain out of that system in those areas. Maybe isolated tornadoes as well. Can't completely rule it out. So. But again, some of those far outer bands from this system are bringing some heavy storms to parts of extreme southern Texas right now. Like, we're talking Corpus Christi southward. Nowhere north of Corpus Christi is going to really see any rain out of this right now. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about the location, feel free to leave those down below. That's why we're live here. That's why we're doing a stream instead of a video. Luckily, your house on Davis Island's the second floor. That could bring another problem, though, with damaging winds. That could raise a problem. So, just look out. Let's try and draw a smoother circle here. I love playing that game where you have to draw the perfect circle on Neil.fun. I was playing Neil.fun before it was cool. I've been playing Neil.fun since COVID started. A lot of people only just started playing it whenever the password game was released, or, you know, again, the perfect circle game was released. I was an OG on Neil.fun. I was playing whenever the coolest game on there was draw logos from memory. And now it's one of the most famous websites on the internet. It's wild. Saturday Night Church? No. This might literally be the only time you see me in a shirt like this on this channel. You're in Cleveland, Georgia right now, camping, not going to be back till Tuesday. Trash is going to get blown everywhere, yeah. Where is Cleveland, Georgia? I've never heard of that. Okay, so that's out there in Appalachia then. Pretty much anyway. And a lot of people talk about, you know, how Appalachia, how that was the area where the hurricane impacted people the most. I don't really know about that. You can just tell by the power outage map here. The counties that aren't getting their power back are mostly outside of Appalachia. I mean, I don't know if you would consider this area Appalachia, but I guess these are mountainous regions here, so maybe, but by the way, high winds have knocked out power for a significant number of customers in North Dakota, by the way. I'm not sick. I just have allergies. I've had allergies for like 2 months now. I've just accepted it at this point that this is how I'm gonna live the rest of my life. I've seriously never had allergies for this long before, though. Put some overalls on. I'll be James Spann. That's actually not a terrible idea. Dude, now I want to be James Spann. Everybody's favorite person named James is James Bond. The real ones are fans of James Spann. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm fine, though. Dude, but yeah, his coverage on April 27th was the best out there by far. And he still does it to this day. That's crazy. James Vita, gosh. Storm's firing off near Spooner, Wisconsin. That is a weird name. It doesn't want to load, so is my Wi-Fi kicking out? Chat, are we good? Are we good, chat? Is the stream still working? Hold up. We should be fine. I don't know why it wasn't loading. I was worried for a second my Wi-Fi briefly went out. No, that's Wisconsin. I didn't even realize this. I didn't see the slate risk for tomorrow. Again, I've been busy today, guys. But apparently we have a slate risk tomorrow now. I think tomorrow is going to be a more significant day, though, in all fairness, than today. No. Next person that says penis in chat is getting blocked. I thought it was more like 11 hours. Was it only 8? I say only 8, but now it's before Ryan Hall, the Ryan Hall era. So, going live covering weather for 8 hours was pretty much unheard of for one person to do that. Anyway, he had somebody else with him. I don't even remember that guy's name. The sidekick, I like to call him. James Spann's sidekick. I don't know his actual name, but he was stepping in quite a bit. So he wasn't all alone. But, I mean, Ryan's also got Andy Hill and other folks as well. Riley and Elijah. Even Chandra and Caleb Beecham. Well, in a way, it is a stream. He's going live for 8 hours on TV doing it. It's pretty much a stream. Sam, I remember Andy Hill's name. That's not who I was talking about whenever I couldn't figure something out. I like the part where he's like, if your principal's mad at you for being late to school, tell him to call me. Like, that was the most Sigma, like, sentence of all time in the weather community. That was a W span moment. That was honestly, that was, if your principal's mad at you, tell him to call me. It's kind of crazy. That is literally the coldest moment in the entirety of the WX community history. That was before the term WX even existed, I'm pretty sure. James Spann better than Tom Brady. I'm pretty sure James Spann has more aura than everybody. In this chat, anyway. No offense. He has more aura than me, too, so obviously, so. Alright, so anyway, I think we're ending off this stream here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I usually do some outro here, but yeah, I mean, just we're gonna continue to watch conditions over the next few days with Milton, and we're gonna see this again evolve, become stronger and stronger and stronger all the way up until landfall. And again, hopefully we'll be live for the landfall of this system near what again right now we're expecting to be is Tampa. And I can't believe we're doing this again. We just got done covering Helene. And, you know, I was saying how bored I was that I wasn't having any streams to do. Well, it seems like we're going to be pretty busy over the next few days, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll see you all in the next one.